Robots constitute a big part of the science fiction stories. Pretty much all of them, starting from child cartoon stories to Star Wars, have an intelligent robot in it. But how far are we actually from creating something similar? How to Create a Mind is a book written by Kurzweil Ray that draws connections and intersections between human mind and machine mind, in what ways they are different and similar, and what algorithms would we write that would make the machine think similar to the way we do. There is no doubt that a machine and human brain work differently. There are many things that we, humans, are able to understand and perform easily, while computers struggle to do, like abstract concepts, pattern recognition, and imagination. Apart from mechanisms that can be programmed into a machine, there are things that we have little idea about its nature and origin. There is no way we can make a computer feel love, anger, passion, feelings that are believed to originate in our brains. Computers excel at different things. Computer can do arithmetic operations that our brain would not be able to do in centuries. Computers able to process and store vast amount of information with incredible detail. Computers can communicate with each other much more efficiently and faster. In order for humanity to build an intelligent robot, we will have to look at an example of an intelligence. And since we are the only subjects to study, we first examine how our brain works and how computers are different from it on a very basic level. Let's look at the way we remember and store information. We do it in a very much different way a computer does. Try to remember a person that you recently bought something from. It can be food, books, anything. Do you recall this person? If you do, can you tell the color of his or her eyes? What clothing did they wear? Most of people can't recall that much detail. That clearly shows that we do not store pictures, the kind of information computer is comfortable to store. Now, try to recall a professor that you had more than a semester before. Do you remember his or her face? Do you have a mental picture of it? In other words, could you draw it on a paper? People usually cannot do this. However, given a set of pictures that include professor's face, you would easily be able to tell which one is it. These examples show how information is stored inside our brain, and what even more important, how is it retrieved. First, we do not store pictures. Ray argues that we store a pattern. For example, we know that the professor certainly had a face, not just because she or he is a human, but because we can actually recall him or her having a face. Secondly, we do not have free access to our memory the way computer does. Our memories need to be triggered, just like a certain smell reminds us of a loved one, a picture of a professor to trigger the memory of how he or she looked like. Let's consider another example. Try recalling the alphabet. It should not be a problem. However, if I ask you to say alphabet backwards, starting from Z and ending with A, it would be a much more daunting task. A computer would certainly be indifferent between two ways to write an alphabet. It is the same piece of information. It would not matter for it if it's backwards, every third character, only a character which number is a prime number. Humans don't possess this kind of freedom. Why do we have trouble recalling what seems to be the same piece of information? The reason is because we don't actually store information the way computers store it. We store it as a pattern, a specific way to represent an alphabet. Why is the difference so important? After all, human brain evolved over many centuries and perform excellently at our daily life, while computers are good only at, well, computing. Could we just not let computer be and let it remember the way it is comfortable? It turns out that the matter is not so simple. The ability to recognize patterns is believed to be one of the features of our brain that actually makes us intelligent. Without naturally being wired to recognize patterns, we would not be able to think abstract and do many things that makes us intelligent. So how could we compose such an algorithm into a computer machine? After all, computer is dumb. For it to perform something, A human must tell specifically what to do or to write an algorithm, a very specific set of actions to implement. How successful have we been in finding the algorithm that will make computers understand abstract concepts, or, in other words, to think in patterns? Not very far. In fact, there is no algorithm that we know of that comes close to the sophistication of human brain. So how far are we from having intelligent robots being a part of our daily life? Given the technological advances that have been made, one might say very close. However, given that we do not actually understand what makes us intelligent in the first place, we can easily assume that our generation will not witness the true artificial intelligence.